It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity, and it's Walkabout Wednesday. And I know it's been a minute. I'm sorry. I have so much to show you today, though. Gosh, it is mid-July, so, you know, a little hot. We've been talking recently in videos about bugs and weeds and, you know, just scourge. But today's a good day in the garden. Look at the Euphorbia. Remember when this was just a stick? Look how beautifully it has leafed out. It is obviously thriving, and I couldn't be happier about that. The millii with my whale's tail. You know, we've talked about this ever since I took this out of the ground and put it in a pot. It has never not been in bloom. I mean, it's just thrilled to be here. My gutters look fantastic. I've been watering them a little more to try and see if I can keep the string of pearls looking better. And for it being mid-July, I'm not hating how look at this one, for example. That one looks great. This one, 50-50. But my thing, what I want to do is I'm going to let this grow and hit the ground. Then the idea is that it will root into the soil at the bottom and gain energy, food, and water from there. So it's an experiment, but some of you gave me that really great idea of laying strings like out flat, and so they can root from their little stems rather than just sticking them in the way I do it, putting a rock on it and hoping for the best. So you teach me as much as I teach you. Probably you teach me more. But anywho, so I'm excited that these are growing and looking forward to them hitting the ground. I will keep you posted. These crassula platyphyla have the cutest blooms in the summer. So stinking cute. And these will be pretty for another 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, at which point I will just simply trim them back. But I really love these little blooms. The little Morganianum, Sedum burrowtail, clearly a spent bloom, so you can just snip that right on off. Done and done. Fantastic. Great suggestions for my pink jasmine. You said just like put a tomato cage in the pot, give it something to climb up. And that was such a good idea, because honestly, I trim this thing at least once a week, if not more. And it is run-a-mucky. I cannot keep it contained. And I don't hate it. So if we can Greg and I can figure out a way to stick something in the pot that it will cover, so it'll grow up instead of all over my pringlei, then I vote yes on keeping the pink jasmine. The Euphorbia trigona is also as happy as a pig in filth in this spot right here. Loving this. I love this plant. I'm so glad that I have one now. This little arrangement sitting in the sun, this is my moss and glue arrangement that I did for the PBS special. So you're getting a little what you call it, Greg? Sneak peek, yes. I was up in LA this week with Greg, and we were doing a segment for Things Green with Nick Federoff, and I taught him how to create an arrangement with cuttings and moss and glue. The episode will air around Thanksgiving time, so I just stuck it here. So far so good. Looks great. Yeah, everything looking really, really great in here. Greg's caudiforme is caudiforming. It was not leafed out last time we did Walkabout, and it's just was waiting for longer days and warmer temps. It's looking really super cute. Okay. Oh, and these Lilac Frost, these these echeverias that I cut and reset in a video, gosh, I feel like a couple of weeks ago. They are looking great. They're blooming. They aren't struggling or stressing at all, and they're just in there as cuttings. Now this sea dragon, It's starting to shrink on me the way echeverias do. And I'm really tempted to remove the bloom stalk because I believe that that prolongs the life of the mother. And I love this plant. So next time you see me, this might be gone. Still haven't top dressed my little aloe, or my little agave, or is that an aloe? That's an aloe. Decided to see how my pothead would do here full time. This is a very shady spot under the honeysuckle, and I water this every couple of days. The string of pearls are looking really good. So I think I found winner chicken dinner with this arrangement. I think it's going to be really happy here. These little Sedum ghosties, I just stuck them in here for effect. There's not even, look, there's not even any soil or drainage, and look what's happening. They're just forming roots in the shape of the little container. God love these plants. They are the toughest things on the planet. And there's no drainage in those little planters either. They're actually candle holders. And do the little ghosties care? Clearly not. And also this little Aloe procera that I put in this pothead is very, very happy being in the shade. So my Aloe Noble bloomed. It always does. It's like firecrackers every 4th of July. And I thought, how cute. Look at the little buttons on top of the blooms. But upon closer observation, I see that those aren't cute little buttons, but rather aloe mite. Now, you know aloe mite is not good, and it can take an aloe out and it can spread to other aloes. I have noticed that when it affects the bloom, though, it doesn't necessarily mean sudden death. If I remove the bloom, I've never seen it spread from there to the plant. So if you see these little crustaceans on at the top of your bloom spikes, get rid of them. Just cut those right on off. We'll get rid of all of the affected blooms that have the mite on them. Okay. All right. Feel much better about that. Okay. Wow. Over here against the prison wall, things are looking really, really good. You were with me as I experimented by adding more plant material. My goal being to get the plants on the bottom to meet the bougainvillea on top. I kind of just want the bougainvillea to run across the top portion of the wall and all of this stuff to kind of climb up to meet it. And it's working. You also cracked up at me as I was throwing things over the wall. It's just open space back there. I'm not throwing anything into anybody's yard, I promise. This little aloe is just getting ready to bloom, and how precious is that? Oh, and remember a couple of days ago, I cleaned up this area with the aloe striata, and you know, true to advertisement, I have enjoyed this space so much every time I walk by. Okay, the Aloe procera is majestic this time of year. If yours is still, if it's summer where you are and your Aloe is still not in leaf, water it. Water it, and I guarantee you it will leaf out almost overnight. Now, this little sedum is getting ready to bloom. It'll get cute little white flowers on it, and that's all well and good, but when those flowers are done, I'm going to have a really leggy, rangy looking sedum. So what I do with this plant every year is I cut it back literally to the ground and then rub pebbles over to conceal. And every year it comes back. I do not plant this every year. Every little area that you see in my garden of sedum is just a repeat from the year before. It's a great little ground cover, but it does not like the summer heat at all. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at the hummingbird on the wisteria. Isn't that so sweet? What a cutie. It looks really young. Hi there. Aw. Loving this area right now. My stephanotis is really starting to take off. I made a mistake about 5 years ago and I cut it back in the winter time really hard. And it took it a really long time to come back. So I don't recommend doing that with stephanotis. I will make some judicious cuts on it this winter though, because it is getting a little run-amucky. I mean, I'm fine with this, but I don't want it, you know, infringing on the seating area. The little cotyledons are still looking really good. The plants that we went after the other day and put back in as cuttings. This little seashell arrangement that I did, gosh, I don't know, months ago. I found a beautiful home for it here, and it is very, very happy. It's still looking amazing. Most of these plants were popped in as cuttings, and they're doing just fine. The topsy-turvy is also holding its own. It'll need a redo probably in the fall, but I'm not hating it. It looks okay. The succulent fountain has really never looked better since this wisteria has decided to grow that way and shade it, which to me is just a gift from the gods. I mean, seriously, I couldn't make this stuff up. I was so thrilled this year to watch this plant just grow. In past years, it's laid down on the pergola, but this year it's growing this way and creating this fantastic shade for the fountain. So I didn't need to bring out my beach umbrella this year. The roses, I did treat with a 3-in-1 liquid systemic. Since I've seen you last, they finished their big full spring flush and they started leafing out again, and I started to see some little cutworm action. So I treated them. I don't see a mark on them now. I'm even getting a little secondary bloom. Just fantastic. These are called Eden climbers. And my little agave attenuata variegata baby of the mom over there is still looking really great in the tapestry. This has held its own for at least a year. I haven't had to make any edits or changes. I think I mentioned to you that I took a piece of blood spot the other day from an area where I was working and popped it in here, and here it is. Just as a little cutting in there. I think that's really sweet. I like that a lot. And my little Echeveria imbricata is not thrilled, but hanging in there. It's looking a little pouty, so it's really, really important that I not water it because it's going dormant, and if I water it, I could rot it. Which brings me to this trash can area that I'm constantly reinventing, and I just started putting some of my fun plants in here as placeholders. You know, like the tight noda is going to get way too big for this space, as is the blue glow, probably the Perry. Check out this aloe tangerine. She's a little late to the party, but nonetheless getting ready to throw off a really cool bloom. I put a little Euphorbia zigzag in here and a cactus. I'm a little concerned about this agave Ferdinand. See all that dark down there in the creases? That looks like might be crown rot. So let's just take it out and see what's going on. Okay, it doesn't smell anaerobic at all. It smells fine. It smells like soil. I don't see any. Ooh, look, a pup. That's cool. I don't see any problems. The soil is damp but not wet. So, you know, there's not really anything I can do. If it is rotting from the inside, that's just too bad. But we will hope that this plant recovers, because a lot of times they do. I'll just bury it mostly with rock so it stays really airy and porous in there, and I will be very mindful to avoid this plant with the hose. My little Aloe plicatilis cutting is still alive. This is the first time I've worked with one of these as a cutting. Let's take a look and see how it's doing. Yay! Roots! How fun is that? I think this is going to be great. That's very, very exciting. Okay, let me put that back. Sorry, fella. Carry on. Okay. Yay, little roots. That's super exciting. Okay. Oh, and then all of our propagates, and this is kind of the NICU in the garden here. We've got our little leaf props are doing great. Cuties hanging in there. Looking good. When these get to be about as big as a quarter, they'll be ready to plant in the ground. But this baby is still getting nourishment from that mama leaf. That mama leaf's not a goner yet. So I'll let that ride under here in the shade. And then I've got my stem props. These are looking even better and bigger. You know, we've talked about that. I told you I'm a little landlocked and I don't always keep the stems when I reset my succulents. But I want to just show you, you know, that if you do, oftentimes you can get additional plants from beneath your cuts. So don't arbitrarily just throw stems away. If you've got a place to house them and you have the patience to wait and see if they'll regenerate, do it. Okay. And the gutters here, ooh la la, wow, just spectacular. Lots of spider webs this time of year. But yeah, I just couldn't be happier with my gutter gardens. They are really low maintenance, and they're fun to work on too, because, you know, they're right kind of at eye level, so they're very, very easy. It's easy on the back. I've probably got 50 different plants growing in these gutters. So this, if you know you are really limited in terms of the space that you have to work and you've got a fence, this might be a really cool solution for you if you'd like to grow some plants in a tight spot. So out here in the front, you know, I'm really working at trying to dial my front yard in to be more xeriscape so that I don't have to do much out here, but it looks good all the time. So last week I took out almost all of the aeoniums and that beautiful Cameronii that was in here and planted this cast off of an agave. And the goal is for it to continue to grow and fill in this space. Clearly I haven't done anything over here yet. I can't with this. I can't. So we'll figure it out. I will be doing something. The flanking planters, this one, oh my gosh, look at that Sahara. Ugh. And then, you know, I underplanted with cuttings underneath it. Look how full and compact and gorgeous this is. Dang, that crassula. Wow, this is perfection. Even the little sticks on fire is coloring up. It just looks, I mean, it's fantastic. Then there's this one. Ugh. So, this one, look at all that dry, wrinkly plant material and soil showing. So I need to fluff this one up. I need to find some larger plants, you know, like, look at this Fred Ives and the Sahara in here. That's so magnificent. And that's what this one's lacking. It just doesn't have any big centerpiece plant in here to inspire the others. At least that's what I think. This aloe has been in this pot for literally a decade. I love the pot, but the aloe is totally pouting. It hasn't really grown at all. So it has the potential to get very large. So I'm going to either gift this to a client or I'm going to need to identify a spot in the yard somewhere where I can plant that so that it will grow. My little Hercules, I turn it a quarter of a turn every time I think to. in the hopes that it'll, it'll grow straight, because this is kind of a funky microclimate in here. We get a lot of late afternoon shade. This Athona capiensis, oh wow, this is the first time I've used this plant, and I am in love. It is stunning. It looks like my little Tillandsia turned up its toes. It's toast, although these are fine, so go figure. This arrangement clearly needs help. I need to get in there and flesh that out a little bit. My Aloe ramosissima is looking fantastic. It's starting to grow, and I am absolutely loving it, along with my mammillarias and my euphorbias. I'm still not completely married to that agave in that green pot. It's a gorgeous plant. I have one in the backyard, so that also might be one that I gift to somebody else. And these cast-offs, some of them will be utilized in a project that I'm doing tomorrow. The rudicopes, the cameronii, the striatas, these silver dollars. Oh God, guys, can you even with this? They look so gnarly. They just look terrible. So those will probably stay in Laura's ICU. That crassula Argentea sunset that I bought in the winter, I couldn't find the plant in 5 gallons anywhere, so I bought a 15 and just cut the crap out of it for tapestry work on the Poway project. It's really starting to come back. So, I don't know. I might use that in a project and keep it as kind of a bonsai specimen. What else have we got? Not much left. Oh, I am hardening off a bunch of Aloe cameronii over here. They're cuttings. I'm getting them to turn red so that I can use them in projects. The barrel cactus are all happy. I love them so much. My aeoniums here are, going pretty hard into dormancy. So, we'll see how that goes. If they'll make it through another year or not will be up to them. The king palm requires a lot of water. I really would prefer to have a Draco in here, or a Bainsii, or some other succulent tree, but alas, here we are. So I feed it, I water it, I'm trying to keep it going, but I don't know for how much longer my patience will last. Okay, so I am exhausted. I have talked your ear off, got you all up to date. Thank you all. Oh, this Aluaudia procera, Greg's pointing at it. Yeah, see? Water, 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 and you get leaves, leaves, leaves. This one I'm allowing to do something different. I allowed all of the bottom branches to stay on as long as it behaves itself and these don't move their way into the walk paths. I'll let it ride because I think that looks very under the sea. It's very cool. But once these branches get recalcitrant or impede walk paths, you just hack them off. And you can dry them out and plant them somewhere else. No problem. Okay, so I guess that's everything for Walkabout Wednesday. It was really fun to connect, to show you what's going on in my garden in this July of the year 2021. Love you guys. Thank you so much for all your support, your wonderful comments, for subscribing, liking, and sharing these videos. You're the best. This has been Laura of Design for Serenity with Walkabout Wednesday and your succulent tip of the day. Bye, guys.